It's disturbing that I'm doing an interview without actually notifying anybody in the PR department. It's a little more disturbing that we're actually drinking during the interview in public. It's more disturbing that we're actually in the middle of a show floor doing this drunken interview. And I think the most disturbing thing is the one where we actually have the Adobe logo sitting behind us in the booth doing the interviews. Well lit, though. Having said that, let's go.
So we're getting drunk on software. Cheers.
Cheers.
John Rose, James Ward, Chet Haase.
That's me.
So we're talking with Chet today about.
What are we talking to Chet about?
Yeah.
We just like Chet.
There's a lot of great things happening in Flex 4.
You're really
Gumbo,
jumping
we're
to
calling
Flex
it.
4
Codenamed Gumbo.
Gumbo. Codenamed Gumbo. So I know you've been working on this stuff. Tell us about what you've been working on in Gumbo.
So I joined last January and basically dove right in. We were midstream on the Gumbo release, and I became the effects guy. So I'm working on
FX?
animation.
Like Java
stuff.
FX?
Effects. Sounds kind of like it, a little bit different though.
Okay.
Spelled differently.
Okay.
It's a key difference. Otherwise, there's absolutely no difference.
Okay. Fantastic.
So, working on animation.
Okay. Very cool. So what does that involve? What's wrong with Flex Animation today? What are we going to do to change it?
Absolutely nothing is wrong with it. It's the most fantastic, beautiful, and wonderful animation system ever invented.
So PR is watching this.
No, there's actually a lot of really good things about Flex 3 animation. One of the key things that we need to enable for Gumbo is to be able to work with, for example, Flash Catalyst, which is a designer-developer tool that needs to be able to animate graphics objects, and that is not possible with Flex 3 animation. So we need to enable effects to actually animate arbitrary objects and arbitrary types of the objects, so that we can actually provide richer experiences for these more graphically based.
Now, I can understand like animating a position X and Y, animating an alpha, which is still a number, a color, which is still a number.
But it gets tricky there, right?
You're right.
Colors are numbers, but if you interpolate a number as a single number,
Right.
you are not going to get the effect you're looking for.
Right.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So you need to
need to
actually
break it into its three
that
parts.
into the channels and animate it on the RGBs or HSV or something more intelligent than just a number interpolation.
Okay. But it's still number interpolation, right?
That is still number interpolation, but you need to.
So what's an example of something that's not number interpolation?
A vague example would be a customer has their own custom object that they want to animate, and they know how to interpolate this custom thing, this blob, this double 64-bit integer something or other, right? It's this other thing that they know how to interpolate. It probably breaks down to numbers at the bottom of it, but it's not a number. Right. Well, we can call into their code and say, you interpolate this for us, pass us back a value, and then we go on.
Okay. Interesting.
So you're the effects guy.
I am the effects guy, not the FX, the
Effects. So do you want to talk about, you were featured on infocube.com this week. We don't have to talk about the effect on Adobe stock, but if you care to summarize any of the thoughts you shared on the Java FX, not Java FX, comparison with Adobe Flex.
I'm not actually sure I can remember my point. Somebody had asked on the Flex Coders email alias. They apparently had heard of JavaFX for the first time at the Adobe Max conference, which I think just has so many interesting connotations.
Yeah, there's so many levels of problems.
Never heard of it before, which really tells you that the marketing machine is working
Java
overtime
6
there.
update 10.
Catching N in that too, or you?
That's what they improved upon.
It was, oh boy, Consumer JRE. It went through some internal names. Then it was update N. Then it was update 10.
And we're only covering that to tank now Sunstock like we did to Adobe's, right?
Oh well, that's the stunning conclusion of the story. So somebody sends out the question around Flex Coders, and I responded and attempted. I think I was actually pretty good at being objective. Their question was, how do we compare these things? And I simply listed some points of comparison.
And you definitely were not controversial because no one has even responded to argue with you.
You left out the part though where some jerk lifted those quotes off a mail list. Broadcast them for the whole
I don't even want to get into the personalities involved. I'm so disturbed that someone would take my quotes out of context.
Yeah, there's going to
And-
have to be
and
some
Make
reconciliation.
me famous on their news site.
Yes, yes,
It's really disturbing.
yes.
Unbelievable.
Sorry.
So the stunning conclusion was when James sent me a picture of the finance pages off of what Google Finance or something, and showed that report came out right about the time that the Adobe stock actually trickled down yesterday.
Which
so apparently had.
I wouldn't call it a trickle. It's more like a waterfall.
Yeah, I mean, that's like 3% loss in like an hour. It was generally positive towards Adobe Flex. You said it in the nicest way possible.
I tried to be objective. I was simply saying, here are the categories you
When
want
you
to
start with one has a shipping version and the other, I think that leans towards an obvious
The
conclusion.
word was maturity.
Okay.
I don't know what else we have, but I don't want to forget to plug yet again Drunk
Yes.
on Software comedy to book.
Excellent.
This
What
is
is it?
what
Something
the drunk
about
on
kings.
software people read when we
They're in the bath are drunk.
when we're drunk, when we cannot read anything
I can't
else.
remember the title. Is not King in the title?
When I am
King. That's
When
the
I Am
entire
King.
title of your blog. I should know that because they're all prefaced When I Am King.
I wish I was king a lot.
Can we make a request?
I was actually telling my boss the other day that I have wannabe Steve Jobs syndrome. This is actually, I think, like a actually diagnosable thing.
problem.
Where
So
I
I've
want
learned.
to be Steve. I don't want to be Steve Jobs. I want to have the power that Steve Jobs has to be like,
start with the term.
that pixel is wrong. Change it now or you're
Gotta
gone.
have the IQ. So I've learned two things about you this week, James. One, you have problems with your batteries, and you're going to have to see a doctor.
Yes, I
And
need to see a
two,
doctor about my batteries.
You want to be Steve Jobs, but you won't even get a Mac. So
You might start there, actually.
Well, see, but I don't really want to be Steve Jobs. I don't want to run Apple.
you want to be
In my world, I want to be able to have the control that Steve Jobs has and say, you, fix that pixel now. It's one shade off of being the
Do
right
you realize there's
color.
only one guy in the
and
world that gets to be like that?
Steve Jobs?
Yeah, like there's no other organization that's really successful that does it. Like even if you're president, right? Like Obama, they're gonna take away his BlackBerry. You think he gets to tell them to fix that pixel when they're like, you just won the most prestigious job you could ever have in this world. Give us your BlackBerry. There's nobody else that gets to be Steve Jobs.
That's unfortunate.
But I want to get in my request. I definitely want to know. Run with this however you will, but when you're king, how will this is to be written later? You don't have to. What will drunkonsoftware.com look like when you're king?
What would be the crowning achievement?
I'm looking forward to that blog post on your Blogspot comedy blog, which is
chetchat.blogspot.com.
Chet,
Not
Chet.
to plug anything.
Is it Chet Chet or Chet Chat?
Chet. Sort of a clever
Chat.
play.
we've heard he's the master of the pun.
Chet Chat.
We should.
I might actually have to outlaw this kind of program because it's encouraging everyone to waste far too much time
I
doing far
think
too
that would be a reasonable response, but I'm looking forward to seeing it in writing.
All
I
right.
want it to be official.
I'll have to think about it deeply. No, actually, I won't. That's not the speak about it.
Yeah.
Well, I'd vote for you
more
for
than 3
king.
minutes.
Thanks, but
Does that
it's
make him
going to be
Steve
a coup.
Jobs?
There won't be a vote involved.
No.
That's the whole thing about
You don't vote
being
for
king.
king.
That's the cool part.
need
You
to
just
know.
take over. There's none of this election stuff for 2 years and electorate and democracy.
That's ridiculous. But I need to know, when you're king, will you make him fix the pixel?
I'm not going to care about pixels. I'll have people that make them fix the pixels.
Okay, so you
I have to
do
think
not
about
want to be
important
Steve
things
Jobs.
like what am I going to wear this? Steve doesn't even worry about what to wear. He's like the black turtleneck or the black coat.
And the jeans.
Yeah.
Yes.
We hope Steve's doing well. We've heard rumors.
Okay. Wow.
So we've covered a lot today.
If you're still watching, God
I'm
bless
sorry.
you. Yeah. I hope that you're drinking.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.